Following a master's degree in aeronautics, Bev Shenstone had a stellar career in aircraft design. Known for creation of the Spitfire wing, his vast work in aviation continued post-war in Canada and England in consultation and design of military and civil aircraft and in holding key positions with commercial airlines. Born in Toronto in 1906, Beverly Strawn Shenstone graduated with a master's degree in aeronautics from the University of Toronto in 1929, where completing wind tunnel tests led to his thesis on aspects of stability for the Vickers Vedette flying boat. During his graduate studies, Bev served in the Royal Canadian Air Force as a member of the Provisional Pilot Officers Program, learning to fly the Avro 504 while studying characteristics of different aircraft. Following university, he gained experience in aircraft construction and design while working with the Junkers aircraft firm in Dessau, Germany, earning an advanced glider pilot's license in his spare time, the first Canadian to do so. His expertise in aerodynamic theory and mathematics led to a job with the Vickers Supermarine Company in England, working with the renowned aeronautical engineer and designer Reginald Mitchell. While working with Mitchell, Shenstone made what is considered his greatest design contribution, the elliptical wing for the prototype Spitfire, a feature that became the famous aircraft's most identifying characteristic. Bev argued for the unique shape, which would allow this new fighter to carry 8 guns and provide outstanding aerodynamic flying qualities. In 1938, he left Vickers Supermarine for the Directorate of Civil Research and Production with the British Air Ministry. In 1940, Bev transferred to the newly formed Ministry of Aircraft Production, headed by Canadian Max Aiken, Lord Beaverbrook. In late 1940, Bev served with the British Air Commission and became involved in helping the RCAF and Canada's National Research Council on various aircraft programs. He was then hired by the Canadian Department of Munitions and Supply to work on aircraft development and contributed to composite aircraft design, de-icing systems, and aircraft programs in Canada's war effort. Sent by TransCanada Airlines to California, he worked on specifications for a new transport aircraft that became the Canadair North Star. And late in 1944, Bev became technical advisor at the Canadair plant in Montreal. While in Montreal, he again became involved in gliding, helping to form the Montreal Soaring Council. Later, in the aeronautical program at the University of Toronto, in collaboration with Wacław Zorinsky, Bev developed specifications for the glider known as the Harbinger, which flew in 1950. In 1946, Bev had moved to Toronto to serve as assistant to the president and general manager of AV Canada Limited. There he was involved in technical management aspects of the new Avro jetliner and the CF-100 Canuck jet interceptor fighter. In April 1948, he was hired by the recently formed British European Airways, returning to England, in charge of BEA's engineering development, responsible for airworthiness, engineering and maintenance, and aircraft acquisition and development. Notable achievements for BEA included introduction of the Vickers Viscount as the world's first turboprop airliner. And in 1949, BEA became the first airline to use the Viscount, putting it in regular service in 1953. Helicopter use expanded starting in 1951, and with wide use of helicopters by 1963, BEA formed a new company, BEA Helicopters Limited, with Bev Shenstone as one of the directors. Also, while at BEA, he was involved with introduction of the company's first jet services, starting in 1960 with de Havilland Comet aircraft to serve longer routes that were later served by BEA with Hawker Siddeley Tridents, and Bev was made a director of the company. He had seen the airline develop from the time it flew DC-3s in its early days to a modern and profitable airline moving from piston power to turboprops to the jet age. He was involved in the program to develop a supersonic passenger aircraft, and Bev represented BEA on the technical subcommittee of a supersonic transport advisory committee. In 1962, Bev became president of the Royal Aeronautical Society, the only Canadian ever to hold that position. In 1965, he moved from BEA to become technical director for British Overseas Airways Corporation. Bev retired from there on December 31, 1966, after association with projects that included the airline's future involvement with the supersonic Concorde. He then moved with his wife Doris to live in Kyrenia, Cyprus, where he remained until he died on November 9, 1979. He has been honored by the American Institute of Aeronautics and Astronautics, by the University of Toronto, and by the Canadian Aeronautical Institute, now known as the Canadian Aeronautics and Space Institute. Beverly Strawn Shenstone had a profound influence on aviation in Canada and around the world, and was inducted as a member of Canada's Aviation Hall of Fame at ceremonies held in Ottawa on June 9, 2016.